We play one hand. It is exactly 50-50.
Right.
If we play 100 hands together, 1,000 hands together, 1,000,000 hands together, you have almost close to zero.
Jamie sometimes gets called a poker pro. Jamie was an amateur when he played, and he's a huge ambassador for the game. So that's why I think people confuse Jamie.
But I'm not a 24/7.
He's not a poker
I don't
pro.
travel the world every month playing poker tournaments. I go to the World Series of Poker. I'll play in the Bahamas, maybe once or twice a year in other places.
Right.
But otherwise, it's a fun hobby for me. I happen to be pretty good at it. And I take it very seriously. And I train every year to go back. And I cash in about half of my events, which is pretty good. And I've made 17 final tables, thankfully. So it's not just the one, But I am not a 24/7 poker professional. I'm a sports bettor. I'm an investor. Some people are just 24/7 poker players. And this is all they do all year round. And so what it means to them to win something like this, you can't even possibly imagine.
So I want to go into this in a little detail because I don't think a lot of people understand this. When Chris Moneymaker won in 2003, it's the first time an amateur won something of this kind. And then almost everybody else who was starting to win were amateurs, and people learned how to play the game, and the poker boom started, etc. It's very funny. My best friends who are poker pros, the way Michael the Grinder, Michael's a poker pro, they would, behind closed doors, have the following conversation. Will one of us ever win this thing ever again? Yeah. And so the set of people who are most rooting for Michael to win are all the other pros.
Right.
Because it's almost a point of pride that a truly skillful professional can win up against 9,000 of the 10,000 people who are amateurs.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting piece of psychology, because you'd kind of think that the pros might be rooting for the amateur to win. No, the pros are rooting for the pro to win.
Yeah.
You can be set up that you have no shot no matter how good you are, no matter what. And you can be set up that you're going to win no matter how bad you are.
And that's my point. Is in basketball, you can work on your game as an amateur all day long.
Right.
You could be in the gym from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day. And then when you get under those lights and you're with a professional,
it's not like that.
You don't have a shot.
But you know what it's like? It's closer to golf, where if you have a golf game, meaning you can play well enough to compete, but you're not a 24/7 professional, you could have that one unbelievable day that everything rolls your way, you just have one round where you could beat all the best in the world. It can happen.
If you're a good amateur, if you played enough holes, you'd probably eventually beat Tiger Woods at one of them.
Right.
Right. He'd beat you 99 times.
Right.
But you'd occasionally have that day where he hit the errant shot and you were perfect. And you hit your bird.
There's more luck in poker than there is in golf, but at least it's closer than basketball or any of the other.
But if I'm playing tennis, just to take it to the other, tennis, you got a guy with a 150 mile per hour serve. I have zero shot to even touch the ball.
You're not going to win a game.
I'm not going to get a point. I'm not only
you might not even get a point.
I'm not going to get a point.
Right.
And so that's where poker is on this continuum where there is significantly more luck than skill.
Yes.
But it's a subject of actually academic research. What percent of poker is skill and what percent is luck? People actually write academic papers on the percent.
The easiest way to explain it is that, let's just say you've never played the game before, and I'm a professional. We play one hand. It is exactly 50-50.
Right.
Because if we're just going to turn over the cards, we're just going to see what happened.
It's like flipping a coin.
You're basically, because there's no reason to bluff or do anything like that. Right. We know we're only playing one hand, so we're both all in on one hand. Yeah. It is flipping a coin because the cards could go your way or my way. Okay, 50-50. Now, if we play 100 hands together, 1,000 hands together, 1,000,000 hands together, when you start getting to the 1,000 and more, you have almost close to zero. You go everywhere from 50% down to 0% that you could beat me if you don't know how to play the game. Right? So that's where it's about volume. Yeah. And so if the main event, let's say, was a year-long event where they would give us enough chips to play, you would almost never have an amateur win. It would only be a professional that could outlast
right.
all the amateurs.
If they played for a year.
If we played for a year.
That's a really good analogy.
Right, but they only play for 10 days.
That's right.
And so it's like
That's a really
on day one.
Really great insight.
And so it's the kind of game that is brutal and exciting and boring half the time. But when you don't get any cards to play, right?
I got to imagine that you, as a pro, you look for amateurs to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Under the lights, right?
And you make
for
them
to
make decisions.
And you force them to make
right.
mistakes.
Yeah, I put
Force
pressure.
them.
We put pressure on them
That's
to
what
make bad decisions.
That's what some of Jamie's talking was about in 06.
But then they'll make a bad decision and still get lucky.
And
that's the biggest problem is that I got them, and then they still get the miracle. So you can almost never be 100%. I would say almost never. There's sometimes you are, but very rarely. You hope to be an 80 to 90% favorite at the best. Is what you really 95% with one card to come is your dream. Yeah. But that one card can still nail you. And if you have to do that 100 times,
it's going to get you.
One time is probably going to get. That's why they say no matter how good you are, to get all the way through the main event without those things happening to you so many times that you could fade them. You know, Michael was almost out. Yes, he's probably the best player. There's Kenny Hallert is another fantastic player that's in, and there are other great players. I just don't know them, but I know about two that are fantastic, but one of them was down like 2 days ago, down to
2 million chips,
which was 3 big blind, which was basically out. He had half a hand to play.
Yeah,
he was basically forced to just.
He starts in second,
and now he's in second place. And so like
it's unbelievable. I talked to a baseball player, famous baseball player, home run hitter, and one time we were driving home, and I said to him, "How do you hit home runs? Like the ball's coming at." I had a professional pitcher during spring training. I said, I don't want the pitching machine. I want you to pitch me one, just so I could see what it feels like. He said, it's going to feel like it's coming right at your eyes and you're going to jump out the box. I said, just throw it to me. I said, give me something like high 80s. And he threw it, and he was not lying. I could see the stitching coming towards me. I get out of the way, and it's a strike, right? And so it was on my mind for a long time. We're going back to the condo, and I said to the hitter, I said, how do you hit home runs? And he goes, I don't hit good pitches, I hit mistakes.
Yeah, right.
When that pitcher makes a mistake,
I'm glad you brought that up.
You wear them down.
One of the best lessons I was ever taught when I first started playing by one of the greatest players ever was that you do not make your money on because you're such a great player and you make great plays. You make your money because other people are making mistakes. And if you make less mistakes than they do, you're going to be a winning poker player. And he said that's really all it comes down to is make less mistakes, wait for them to make mistakes, and that's when you get paid off.
Can I take a guess?
Because people are always trying to be the greatest. Like you can't make a great play on somebody who doesn't know how to play.
Being a legend of the game, having years under your belt, let's go back a little bit to when you first fell in love with poker. When you started, how did you start? When did you start? And when did you say, this is where I'm taking my life in this direction?
All right. So I started playing when I was 3 years old because my mom and I...
Good upbringing. Good upbringing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it
good
was.
upbringing.
Well, my mom, had no money, and she was living with my grandparents, which... as a child is a huge bonus, right? You don't know that you don't have money. You don't know that you're living in one room, and you don't know, right? As a kid, all you know is that you have love. Yeah. And so and grandparents give you that unconditional love. And so I was very lucky, not financially, but very lucky emotionally to grow up with my grandparents. And my mom was working. She was a teacher in Harlem. I think the only white woman at the time in Harlem. So,
maybe she's our mom's sister.
She had certain challenges.
Could be.
Certain challenges, but we lived in Manhattan with my grandparents, and my grandfather was a master gin rummy player. And every Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, they would have game. They used to go to, they would have like 5 guys that would always play in the game together, and they would go to each one of their apartments every other week. They'd change, but as soon as they had me in the apartment, they didn't want to leave. And this way they could take care of me and my mom could have, a little bit of a life. And so the game would always be in my grandparents' apartment. So what I remember most of growing up was that I would sit on my grandfather's lap. I would learn how to play cards, and then they would tell this story. I don't know if it's true or not, but they would say that I learned the game so quickly that I would go around and basically like sit with each one of the players and teach them how to play better against my grandfather, because I learned how he was playing against them. And I would say, yes, to what they were doing. And, they're probably making up these stories to make, cute little kid could tell these guys how to play. And maybe they were just being kind to me, because I can imagine how annoying that might be to have a little kid doing this. But at least that's the story that they tell me of where my card sense came from. And then we would just always play. I would play with my friends growing up. I would go to summer camp every summer. From the time I was 6 until I was about maybe 16. So for 10 years, every summer, my friends would remind me that we used to play for candy, because that's all you would get. They had no money. But our currency was, you could go to the canteen and you would get like 2 candy bars and a soda. And so we would play for our candy. And they say that I would have this trunk full of candy because most people were not very good card players. And then I would just give it back to everybody. And so
I want to say this about Jamie, that I don't think Jamie obviously got a huge public persona now, and I think a lot of people have an opinion about Jamie because they see him on TV. Jamie is genuinely one of the nicest, sweetest demeanored people around. So when he tells the story about how he gave away all the candy, like that's the picture I want the public to understand. That's the picture you should have of Jamie Gold. He won, but he gave all the damn candy away, even when he was a little kid. And this comes back to my kid, Zach, who you two both know really, really well. Zach loves Uncle Jamie.
Yes, and
Zach,
I love him.
And Zach, when Jamie comes into town, Jamie comes and gives the neighborhood kids a lesson in poker in our basement. It's the coolest thing. It's cool. But I got to tell you,
and Zach also took me down. Zach beat me in PLO.
Wait, what's the story?
Zach beat me in PLO.
I want to make sure you hear my favorite story. So yeah, look, Zach's a legit player. Like being taken down by my 14-year-old son is like there's no foul in that. He's good. But my spot where I really get to rip Jamie invited me to be on Poker After Dark. And it was the first time I ever got to be on live poker, mic'd up, high stakes. I mean, it's a rush, right? It's a rush.
Yeah.
And like 30 minutes later, you know what the guy had. It's crazy. And so we're on the live stream, and it's Daniel Negreanu, it's Frank Casella, it's Alex Harlow, it's Galfond.
Yes, Farrah Galfond.
Farrah Galfond. I mean, this is Murderers Row.
I think Drew Donan.
Drew Donan was there in his crazy suit jacket.
Yes.
So, and we're all just bullshitting because, you're playing for hours. And we're talking about my favorite game, Badugi, which is also my son's favorite game. Now, Badugi is an exotic variant that usually only kind of poker pros play. It's a low ball draw game. It's not worth explaining right now. But the point is, it's a game I would have thought everybody at that table would have played. Jamie says on national television, "What's Badugi?" I look over at Negreanu. I'm like, is he? He's like, no. I was like, Jamie, the next time I'm in Vegas, I'm going to have my 6-year-old, because that's how old Zach was. I'm going to have my 6-year-old teach it to you. And so we have a great video, actually. I think it was here at the Wynn, of Zach teaching Jamie how to play our favorite game.
It was here at the Wynn.
I love that.
Yes.
Obviously, that's before chat.
And not only that, too, but this also, come on, look, other people, especially some other thin-skinned poker players I would know, would be like, oh, come on, I think you're going to rib me. Like, he graciously gets the lecture from my 6-year-old son. I mean, come on, Jamie.
Great.
I'm just saying, there aren't a lot of people built like that.
You can learn from anyone, anytime. I'm a sponge for information, and I know what I don't know. And I'm very clear that I do not know everything about poker or anything in the world. And I think that there are too many people who think they know everything. And it's sad that it limits them from growing. Because they just think, well, I already know everything. I don't care how old you are. Yeah. Even if you're just a poker player, just a no-limit hold'em player, you are on a journey for life if you are trying to get better. You can never master the game. That's one of the beautiful things about the game, is that you can always be better. And the game is constantly evolving and changing.
About.
Yeah, I was really excited about, Edge Boost gave away a seat to the main event, very generously, and she had a decent shot, and it didn't work out for her. But my standard, which is the data protection company, where we're also frustrated about how our data is being used and stolen and monetized by all of these companies, that every time we say something, it pops up on our phone. That Buick is now popping up on my phone because we just talked about it. Now imagine if you decide, you say, I want to see ads from car companies, and they pay you $5 to look at the ad. I want to see ads from casinos, and you get paid $10 for looking at the ad.
I do want to see ads from casinos.
So it's monetizing and controlling your data. So this company, My Standard, that I'm so excited about, because they built all the tech, and now they're coming out to the world. They have a pretty decent, 100,000 people following them online. So people know that this is coming, but they're just launching to the world now. They ran the coolest contest for the World Series of Poker, where we gave away a seat to the main event. I coached them through it. We gave them a Fit 9 Atlanta package where, I don't know if you know, but I have my blood all taken out and cleaned and put back. It's called Total Plasma Exchange. Wow. You're in both arms like this. Changed my life.
Yeah.
It's amazing what it's done to take away microplastics and mold exposure. And I lived on the beach for 20 years. And anyway, Fit 9 gave them a full package. We flew them out. We put them up. We gave them 10,000 tokens, so that they have so that they can be on My Standard. And the guy flew out. Turns out he was a poker player about 10 or 15 years ago, but he just stopped playing. Didn't have the finances, didn't have the drive for it, and he was so excited. He had just lost his job. He's this wonderful human being that he goes by Mr. Humanity. And it was a very random, we did the spin the wheel draw. It's not like we picked the most interesting person. He just happened to be the most interesting person. And he got through day 3. I'm out instantly, as I told you, on day 1. I had no chance. But now I'm coaching him through on day 3. He was maybe 3 hours from the money, which means like real money. You get $15,000 just for cashing, and then you play for it all. And things just were not going his way. But he was such a great ambassador, and they did these great stories on him. Poker News covered it, and they did these pieces on him, and they were filming him. The World Series of Poker gave him all kinds of attention.
It was some great coverage.
That made my World Series main event. Besides my friend that might win it, which is so amazing.
Well, we got it. Listen, Jamie, we got to get you over to We got to get you over to the final table. But I'm going to say one thing here at a personal level. I want to thank you, Jamie, for being on it. I'm glad you finally got to meet my brother, Derek, by the way. I'm glad you finally...
I've been watching. You've been fantastic. I've been learning from you guys. Like, you not only... You do such a great job, because, look, there are so many podcasts out there. Right. If people are watching yours, they get to be educated. They get to learn about finances. They get to hear these incredible inside stories of sports and gaming. And then they get to hear from your personal experiences, which you guys are a wealth of information and knowledge and education and experiences. And there aren't that many great podcasts out there. And yours is fantastic.
Thank you, bro.
I'm thrilled. Listen, thank you for that compliment. And I want to thank you. I want to say one thing.